गुड इवनिंग, नमस्कार सभी को। स्वागत है आपका हमारे इस चैनल पे जिसका नाम है 1 मार्क सोल्यूशन। और जैसा कि आप सभी जानते हैं कि हमारे साथ लगातार डिफरेंट सब्जेक्ट्स के डिफरेंट एक्सपर्ट्स इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे जुड़ते आ रहे हैं। और कल जैसा कि कुछ नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम की वजह से कुछ इशू हो गया था, तो हम लाइव प्रोसेस पार्ट 2 कंप्लीट नहीं कर पाए थे क्लास 10 के लिए। तो जो भी हमारे नए व्यूवर्स हैं उनको मैं बताना चाहती हूँ, ये प्लेटफॉर्म सिर्फ आपके लिए है, बच्चों के लिए है, बच्चों के वेलफेयर के लिए है। आप इससे लगातार ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा इसको शेयर करिए, लाइक करिए, सब्सक्राइब करिए चैनल को, जिससे कि आपको जो भी अपकमिंग वेबिनार्स रहेंगे उनके अपडेट्स आपको मिलते रहेंगे चैनल पे। तो अभी मैं ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लेते हुए मैम का वेलकम करती हूँ। मोस्ट वेलकम मैम आपका। जो भी कल हमारे व्यूवर्स हमारे साथ जुड़े थे उनको पता होगा, और मैम ने एक बार और भी प्रेजेंटेशन यहाँ पे दिया हुआ है। मैम का नाम है रूपा सिद्धू मैम, और मैम टीजीटी साइंस है केवीएस नंबर 1 वॉस्को गोवा में। और मैम के बहुत सारे अचीवमेंट्स हैं, बहुत सारी क्वालिफिकेशन जो मैम की है उसमें मैम ने बहुत सारा अचीवमेंट्स गेन किया हुआ है। मैम के जो रिसेंट अचीवमेंट्स हैं मैं उनके बारे में बात करना चाहती हूँ। मैम को इंसेंटिव अवार्ड भी मिल चुका है, केवीएस रीजनल इंसेंटिव अवार्ड, और मैम को नेशनल इंसेंटिव अवार्ड भी मिल चुका है। और मैम केवी मॉस्को में 2014 टू 17 एज अ टीचर वहाँ पे काम कर चुकी हूँ। मैम को इंटरनेशनल डिप्लोमा इन गाइडेंस एंड काउंसलिंग में भी मैम ने किया हुआ है, जो कि इंटरनेशनल लेवल का डिप्लोमा होता है। और मैम गोल्ड मेडलिस्ट है अपने सब्जेक्ट में, तो मैम का क्वालिफिकेशन तो बहुत ज़्यादा है। और आप फुल टाइम इस वेबिनार को एंजॉय करिए। और आई होप कि आपको ये जो चैप्टर है इससे जो भी आपकी क्वेरीज रहेंगी 1 मार्क से रिलेटेड, जो भी आपके क्वेश्चंस रहेंगे, ट्रू फॉल्स, फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स और मैच द कॉलम्स, वो सारे आपके आज डाउट क्लियर होने वाले हैं। मैम ने जो कल सेशन जहाँ तक पूरा किया था उसके आगे से मैम आज सेशन लेने वाली हैं, उसके आगे का पीपीटी प्रेजेंट करने वाली हैं। तो आपको कल कल तक का जो हमारा यूट्यूब चैनल लाइव रहा होगा उस पर आपको दिख गया होगा। आज आगे का मैम कंटिन्यू करने वाली हैं, तो प्लीज आप इस पे बने रहिए। लास्ट में एक फीडबैक फॉर्म आएगा इसी पीपीटी से रिलेटेड, उसमें 10 मार्क्स रहेंगे। और आपको 4 या 40% मार्क्स अगर आप उसमें लाते हो देन आपको श्योर एक सर्टिफिकेट आपको इशू होगा आपके मेल आईडी पे। तो आप लगातार इस पे बने रहिए, लास्ट तक बने रहिए, और चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए, जिससे कि आपको अपकमिंग वेबिनार्स के डेट मिलते जाएंगे। तो अभी मैम मैं आपको हैंड ओवर करती हूँ।
Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you very much. Good evening, children. It was very unfortunate yesterday that we had to stop the session. In fact, I didn't come to know about it. I kept neglecting the phone call. So I kept continuing till 5 o'clock without knowing what was happening. Anyways, I know till where you all were present. So I'm going to continue from there on. All right. I'll share my screen. एक बार बताओ प्रियंका, screen is visible?
हाँ, wait ma'am.
All right, children, we were dealing with okay.
Yes.
We were dealing with multiple choice questions, and we have to start from here. Water will be absorbed by the root hair. You know, water is available to the plants only from the soil. So how is the water absorbed? Concentration of solutes in the cell sap is high. See the choices first. Plant is rapidly transpiring. They are separated from the soil by a permeable membrane. And concentration of salts in the soil is high. Now you got to weigh all the options. See, let's start from here. Concentration of salts in the soil is high. You know, if the concentration of salts in the soil is high, that means water concentration in the plant cell would be more. And you know, water always will move from its higher concentration to its lower concentration. So if this is the situation, then water would come out of the plant cell. Okay. They are separated from the soil by a permeable membrane. That's not true, because the membrane is semi-permeable. That's how creation of osmotic potential works. Plant is rapidly transpiring. If transpiration is very fast, the only thing that's going to happen is the plant is going to wilt because of excessive loss of water. Concentration of solutes in the cell sap is high. This is true because when the cell sap is concentrated, that means the water outside in the soil is more. That's when the water will enter the root hair. So the right answer is A. So if we have to let the water come into the root hairs, the concentration of solute in the root hair should be high. Only then will the water come inside from its higher concentration to its lower concentration. The right answer is A. All right. The next one. Which of the following contributes most to the transport of water from the ground to the leaves of a tall tree? So, continuing the absorption of water, let's look at the choices. Breakdown of ATP, capillary rise of water in xylem, cohesion of water and transpiration pull, and root pressure. Now, even if all the options seem to be correct, you have to choose the most appropriate answer. Breakdown of ATP. See, if the concentration of water, that is, if the soil solution is more dilute, it is not going to require any energy. By osmosis, water would move into the cell. Capillary rise, no. The most acceptable theory is cohesion of water. Cohesion means attractive forces between the water molecules. Because of cohesive forces between the water molecules, they form a continuous column. And transpiration pull plays a very, very important part in absorption of water from the soil. Because when water is lost from the leaf surface, that particular cell has more concentrated cell sap. So the adjacent cell will have more dilute solution. So then the water will enter into this cell. When water comes out from the adjacent cell, the very next cell will have, more dilute solution. So that's how the water will keep moving from cell to cell. And this will create a strong pull. And because of attractive forces between the water molecules, it forms a continuous column. So the water is pulled up. All right. So the right answer is C. Glomerular filtration is possible. You must know it is ultrafiltration in glomerulus of the nephron. Ultrafiltration happens because of high hydrostatic pressure which is present in glomerulus. Now, how is this high pressure possible? That's the question. Afferent arteriole has less diameter than the efferent arteriole. See, the renal artery brings blood to the kidney. When it comes near the kidney, it gives off afferent arteriole. So it's afferent arteriole that enters the glomerulus, and it's the efferent which goes out. See the next choice. Afferent arteriole has more diameter than the efferent arteriole. Both have the same diameter? No. Afferent capillaries have more diameter than the efferent capillaries. All right, here, choice B, the option B is right. Because the afferent arteriole has more diameter than the efferent arteriole, a high hydrostatic pressure is created, and because of which ultrafiltration takes place in the glomerulus. Okay, so the right answer is B. Next, translocation. You must recollect what is translocation. It's transport of food or transport of the outcome of photosynthesis to various parts of the plant. It takes place in upward direction only, downward direction only, both upward and downward, none of these. Now, see, if leaves synthesize food for the plant, the food has to reach all the other parts, all the branches, the roots, it has to go till the root tip. So, unlike water, which is present in the soil, the direction of water absorption is only from bottom to top, only unidirectional. When it comes to translocation or transport of food, it is both upward and downward direction for it to reach all the parts of the plant. The right answer is C. The next. When the materials like sucrose are transferred to the phloem tissue, the osmotic pressure of the tissue dash leading to dash of water into or from it. Okay, first look at the choices. These are the 4 choices. Now you must understand what happens and how food is loaded in phloem. That is not a passive process. That is at the expense of energy. It's an active process by which sugar is loaded. It's called loading of phloem. Okay. Now, when sugars move into phloem, the osmotic pressure of the tissue is bound to increase. When the osmotic pressure of the tissue increases, that means when food is loaded, the solution or the cell sap in phloem, it becomes more concentrated. More concentrated with solute, that means solvent is less. Then the adjacent cell will have more water. So water will move into this phloem tissue. That's how the water also will move into that cell. So here, when sucrose is transferred to phloem tissue, the osmotic pressure increases, leading to entry of water. Because in water there will be an osmotic gradient. Adjacent cell will have more water concentration, so it will move into phloem. The right option is A. You must understand the statement before you choose. Which structure carries blood to individual cells of the body? See, we know it is a aorta, which is a main artery arising from the heart, which takes blood to all parts of the body. But when it reaches specific organs, it gives off specific arteries. Okay. Now, when it is near the cells of the body, how is the blood transferred? Through the artery, vein, arteriole, capillary. See, you have to understand which of these blood vessels have the thinnest wall. Because for gases, for food, for all the material that is transported, very thin wall is required for these materials to be transferred into the cell and out of the cell. So when the artery reaches the tissues, it will divide into arteriole, and which will further divide into capillary. So the right answer is D. See, blood or the transferable substances cannot ooze out from the artery. Artery has very thick wall. Slightly thin is arteriole, but the thinnest is capillary. So it is only through the walls of the capillary that there is exchange of gases. The digested food also is exchanged. All right. Next, contraction of the right ventricle. You must recollect, right side of the heart contains deoxygenated blood. Okay. Contraction of the right ventricle pumps blood into, see the options, right auricle, pulmonary artery, pulmonary vein, and aorta. So if you recollect circulation of blood, you will see that the right ventricle will contract to pour blood into pulmonary artery, which will carry the deoxygenated blood to the lungs for oxygenation. From right auricle, the blood will go into right ventricle. From pulmonary vein, the blood will go into left auricle. It brings oxygenated blood from the lungs into left auricle. And aorta takes blood from left ventricle. So the right answer is B. In the kidney, the formation of urine involves the following processes arranged in order. So you have to first recollect the various steps in the formation of urine. Now here in the option, various processes are given. You have to see in which of the options it is arranged in the proper sequence. Glomerular filtration, yes. See, reabsorption. Reabsorption cannot happen first. First and foremost, it is ultrafiltration. So these two options are ruled out, B and C. We have to choose between A and D. So let's see the sequence. Glomerular filtration. Just give me a second. Glomerular filtration followed by reabsorption and then tubular secretion. This seems to be correct. Anyway, let us look at this. Filtration, secretion, and reabsorption. These are slightly altered. So the right answer should be A. This is the right option because in the kidney, ultrafiltration, and after that, the useful substances are absorbed. So tubular reabsorption is the next step. And then tubular secretion, that is from the blood. If there are any material, any substances to be excreted out, it secretes into the lumina of the tubules. So that also will be excreted out in the urine. So the right option is A. Identify the correct path of urine in the human body. Okay. Now, these are the various options. You have to choose the correct path of urine. Kidney, urinary bladder. See, from the kidney, it doesn't go into urinary bladder. From starting with, sorry, starting with urinary bladder is completely wrong because first of all, urine is made in the kidney. So this option B is to be completely ruled out. Next, kidney, then it goes to the tubes, the ureter, and then urethra, urinary bladder. This is also wrong because urethra is for voiding of urine. Before urethra, urine is stored in the urinary bladder. So the right sequence would be kidney, ureter, urinary bladder, and then urethra for micturition. Voiding of urine is referred to as micturition. So the right option is B. Next, what is the correct route for blood flow in humans? So you have to recollect the circulation of blood. These are the various options. Take a few seconds to read all of them. You know, the blood from various body parts comes to right atrium. This is beginning with left, so A and B are ruled out. It has to start from right atrium. Okay, then it goes to right ventricle. Then left ventricle, no. Because in the middle, it has to get oxygenated. So look at this. Right atrium to right ventricle. From here, it goes to lungs. It becomes oxygenated. Then it comes to left atrium and then it goes to left ventricle, and from left ventricle it will be pumped into aorta. So option D is the right sequence or the correct route of blood. in humans. Okay. Choose the incorrect pair. Don't make a mistake. You have to choose the wrong pair. Ultrafiltration, glomerulus, concentration of urine, collecting duct, transport of urine, ureter, storage of urine, urinary bladder. See, ultrafiltration happens in the glomerulus. This is correct. Transport of urine. Once the urine is formed and it is in the collecting duct, through ureter, it will be transported to urinary bladder, where the urine is stored. So this option is also correct. Storage of urine in urinary bladder. That's also correct. But concentration of urine in the collecting duct is wrong. By the time the solution reaches collecting duct, it is urine. Concentration of urine. Yes. आप इनको फोन कर लो. Concentration of urine does not happen in the collecting duct. It happens in the tubules. And after it is concentrated or diluted, depends on if you have more water, then less water will be reabsorbed in the tubules and you will excrete out more dilute urine. If you don't drink enough water during the daytime, or then more water will be absorbed because your body needs water, and then more concentrated urine would be secreted out. So that's under hormonal control. Concentration of urine does not happen in the collecting duct. It happens in the tubules. All right. So this is the incorrect pair because we have to choose the incorrect pair. The right option is B. The table shows the characteristics of blood in one blood vessel of the body. Now look at the characteristics. In this particular blood vessel, we have to find out which blood vessel. The oxygen concentration is high. That means it has to be an artery, correct? Carbon dioxide concentration will be low. Pressure is high. If pressure is high, you have to see these. Look at the options. Which blood vessel contains blood with these characteristics? Aorta, pulmonary artery, pulmonary vein, vena cava. Aorta definitely has more concentration of oxygen and less concentration of carbon dioxide, and the blood flows with very high pressure in aorta. But let us see the other options. Pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood to the lungs for oxygenation. Here the pressure is not that high. Pulmonary vein brings oxygenated blood to the right auricle. Here the pressure is even low because this particular blood vessel has been in contact with the alveolar spaces and exchange has happened. So the speed of blood, pressure of blood is very low. Vena cava brings blood from the tissues. It is traveling to the heart. So here also the blood pressure is low. Aorta is the right option. Let us see. Yes, A is the right option. Next. Which process occurring in human body does not involve energy from respiration? Contraction of heart muscles, it requires energy. It requires energy. Diffusion of oxygen from alveoli into the blood. This does not require energy because there is osmotic gradient. There is more oxygen in the alveolar air spaces and less in the blood. So from higher concentration of oxygen, it will passively diffuse into the blood without the expend of energy. This process, as long as there is an osmotic gradient, it will not require energy. Digestion of bread. Digestion process requires energy. Maintaining a constant body temperature also requires energy. So the right option is B. All right. Which of the following is not a component of plasma? You must recollect that blood has a liquid part, plasma, into which the blood cells are embedded. So now what is not the component of plasma? Water. It has 90% of it is water. Globulin, that's a protein. It's present in plasma. Plasma has many proteins, globulin, albumin, fibrinogen. They're all proteins which are present in the plasma. Platelets are not present because plasma is devoid of the blood cells. No blood cells are present in the plasma. Platelets are thrombocytes, which are responsible for clotting of blood. So platelets are not present in the plasma. Right answer is B. The process of transpiration in plants helps in. Transpiration is a necessary evil. Though there is water loss because of transpiration, but transpiration is a very important process. Why? Does it help in opening of stomata? No. Water is lost through the stomata, and that is what is called transpiration. Absorption of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere? No, it does not help. Upward conduction of water and minerals? Yes. Transpiration pull is a very, very important phenomena for upward conduction of water. I already explained to you, it is because of transpiration pull and because of cohesive forces between the water molecules that water is pulled up to great heights. Okay. Absorption of oxygen from the atmosphere? No. So the right answer is C. Yes. Next. Root cap has no role in water absorption. Root cap is the tip of the root. It has no role in absorption. Let us look at the choices first. It has no direct connection with the vascular system. It has no cells containing chloroplast. It has no root hairs. And it has loosely arranged cells. Let me tell you, it is the root hairs which actually increase the surface area for the water and mineral absorption from the soil into the plant. Root tip only protects the root. It does not have any root hair. So the root tip or the root cap is not responsible for absorption. The root cap has one more function. It has sensors which can sense gravity. It is because of the root cap, the plant root grows downwards. You have studied in germination, the radicle, even if you place the seed with the radicle in the upward direction, it will go down and form the roots because the root cap has sensors, geotropism. You've studied that. The right answer is C. Because there are no root hairs, root cap has no role in water absorption. See, please look here, children. This is the root cap. It has no root hairs. It is this area with the root hairs, which is very large surface area and where absorption of water and minerals take place. Next. Please look at this diagram. This diagram shows circulation of blood in the human body. Okay, you see some labeling, S, P, R, and Q. The diagram represents part of human circulatory system. Where will the blood pressure be the highest? एक और question हमने अभी deal किया है. This is a similar question. Now, what is this R? See, the blood is going to the heart. Naturally, when the heart contracts, the blood would be flowing with the greater pressure. But in R represents the vena cava, which is bringing blood to the heart. Here the pressure will be low. This particular blood vessel is pulmonary artery, which is taking deoxygenated blood to the lung. Here the pressure is not so high. After oxygenation, as I told you earlier, the pulmonary vein brings blood to the left auricle. In this, the blood pressure is very, very low because in the lungs, it has been engaged in the exchange of gases between the alveoli. The blood pressure is very low here. It is this particular blood vessel, which is aorta, where the pressure will be the highest, because when the left ventricle contracts or during ventricular systole, blood will be pushed into aorta with a lot of pressure, and the blood is flowing downward. See, the pressure will be very high. So here the right answer would be Q, that is B. Next. All right, we go over to assertion and reason. I think by now all of you must be knowing how to answer these questions. There will be two statements. One will be assertion and the other one will be reason. If you find both are correct and reason is the correct explanation, your answer will be A. If you feel both are correct, but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion, then your answer will be B. See, sometimes these guidelines may be different in your exam. So don't take it for granted. You must always read the guidelines and go by the guidelines. As of now, it is these. If assertion is correct and reason is wrong, then your answer will be C. And if both are wrong, then answer will be D. All right. Okay, let's go to assertion reason type of questions. Assertion. Walls of the ventricles are thicker than the atria. This is very true. Reason. This helps in preventing backflow of blood. The thick walls definitely do not help in preventing backflow. So the answer is C. Assertion is correct, but reason is incorrect. All right. Next. Assertion. Translocation of food occurs in plants. That's correct. Reason. Xylem tissue is responsible for translocation. This is not correct because it is the phloem through which food is transported. So the answer is C. Assertion is correct, but reason is incorrect. Next. Transpiration is a necessary evil. Yes, I earlier told you. It results in loss of water for the plant, but it causes water loss, but helps in absorption and upward movement of water and mineral. This is absolutely correct. So the answer is A. Both are correct and reason explains the assertion correctly. Translocation of sugars occur through phloem. That's correct. It is achieved by diffusion of sugars through phloem. It is not diffusion. I already explained to you earlier, it's a very active process which requires energy. So the answer is C, because assertion is correct, reason is not correct. Diffusion is a very passive process. It does not require energy. As long as there is a gradient, gases or any solvent or solute, it would diffuse. Assertion. In human heart, there is no mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. This is an absolutely correct statement because human beings are very, very complex. The metabolic rate is very high. So to cater to the high oxygen requirement, the mixing of blood does not happen. Valves are present in the heart which prevent backflow of blood. Now, there is no connection between this, but both are correct. So the answer is B. That is, both are true, but reason is not correct explanation for assertion. Diffusion does not meet high energy requirements of multicellular organisms. This is very true. In the lower organisms, they remain completely in contact with either the water or external environment, and diffusion is possible. But in multicellular organisms, they become very complex, and all the internal organs are not in contact with external environment. Diffusion is a fast process, but only occurs at the surface of the body. This is not a correct statement because diffusion is a very slow process. It occurs only at the surface of the body. That's also not true. We know in our lungs, in the alveoli and the blood vessels, there is exchange happening by diffusion. So answer is C, because assertion is correct, but reason is wrong. All the arteries carry oxygenated blood from the heart to various organs. We know pulmonary artery does not carry oxygenated blood. So the statement is not correct. Pulmonary vein carries deoxygenated blood to the heart. This is also incorrect because pulmonary vein carries oxygenated. So the answer is D clearly, because both are wrong. Next, hemodialysis can save the life of patients with kidney failure. Yes, because it is done with the help of an artificial kidney. Waste products like urea can be removed from the body by hemodialysis. This is correct. So the answer is A, because both are correct, and reason very clearly explains the assertion. All right, we go over to the next type of question, which is answer in one word. We are exceeding time. Flow of solvent molecules from a region of higher water potential to a region of lower water potential through a semi-permeable membrane. This is the perfect definition of osmosis. It is through osmosis water is absorbed into the root hairs. The anticoagulant used during the process of hemodialysis. See, when the blood is taken out from the patient's artery, they add an anticoagulant to prevent coagulation of blood. An example of that is heparin. Please see how hemodialysis happens. The blood is taken from a main artery, from the patient's main artery, and this they will add anticoagulant. This is made to flow in tubes which are immersed in a dialyzing liquid. So all the waste material from the blood will diffuse out into the dialyzing liquid. So this dialyzing liquid, which has urea and other excretory products which have come out from the blood, it will be taken out. Fresh liquid will be circulated again. After the blood is free of excretory waste, it will be pumped into the major vein of the patient. This is how hemodialysis is done. The gas transporting protein molecule present in the blood. Which is the protein molecule present in the blood? Hemoglobin. It has high affinity for oxygen and it is mainly responsible for transport of oxygen. Next. These valves act to prevent backflow of blood from the arteries to the ventricles during ventricular diastole and help maintain pressure on the major arteries. You must understand this statement. When the right ventricle and the left ventricle relax, there are valves which will close, and that will prevent the blood from the arteries to come back into the ventricle. Which are these valves? The semilunar valves. On the right side, we have pulmonary valve, and on the right side pulmonary, on the left side, in between, where the left ventricle meets the aorta, there is aortic valve. So these valves, once the blood is pushed into the arteries, the pulmonary artery on the right side, aorta on the left side, after that, these valves close when ventricles are relaxing. So because of the closure of the valves, the blood does not come back to the ventricles. That's the question. The phenomenon of uptake of water at the expense of energy by the cell, and usually against the osmotic gradient. See, water, if there is an osmotic gradient, water will always move by osmosis from a dilute solution to a more concentrated solution. But if water moves against the osmotic gradient, that means if it is moving from a concentrated solution to a dilute solution, it will require energy. This is called active absorption. If no energy is required, it's a passive process. Instrument used to measure blood pressure, this should be easy, sphygmomanometer. This is sphygmomanometer, which is used to measure blood pressure. Pressure in the arteries during ventricular relaxation. When the ventricles are relaxing, the pressure will be less. It is called diastolic pressure. Sorry. Dash veins pour their dash blood into left atrium. Which are the veins which empty blood into left atrium? It has to be oxygenated blood, which is coming from the lung. Okay, so it has to be pulmonary veins pour their oxygenated blood into left atrium because they bring the blood from lungs to the left atrium. Transportation of the products of photosynthesis. Okay, this we have talked about many times. It's called translocation, which happens through phloem in plants. Next, all right, one last type of question is match the following. I've just added one. Try to match the right options. Column 1, phloem, platelets, nephron, erythrocytes, and heart. Column 2, pericardium, oxygen, translocation of food, clotting of blood, and excretion. Now, phloem, you can easily match with translocation of food because in plants, the outcome of photosynthesis, the sugar that is synthesized by photosynthesis will be translocated through phloem. So A can be matched with R. Platelets are thrombocytes present in the blood, which are mainly responsible for clotting of blood. Nephron. Please do not confuse nephron with neuron. Nephron is the functional unit of kidney and it is responsible for excretion. So C can be matched with T. Erythrocytes. Erythrocytes is other name for red blood cells. Red blood cells transport oxygen. You know, the mature RBCs are enucleated. They don't have a nucleus. It's an adaptation to make more place for more oxygen to be carried because there is hemoglobin which has high affinity for oxygen. So erythrocytes can be matched with Q. Heart, pericardium. Pericardium is a double membrane which surrounds the heart. And in between the two membranes, there is pericardial fluid, which is a shock absorber, which actually protects the heart from any mechanical injury too, right? So the right matching would be A with R, B platelets with clotting of blood, nephron, excretion, erythrocytes, oxygen, and heart, pericardium. I hope you all got that right. That's all from my side, children. I hope I've been able to revise nutrition, respiration, transportation, and excretion for you, because life processes is a very important chapter and carries maximum marks in your board exam. So I hope I have done justice and you have also listened to everything carefully. Thank you
Yes,
very
ma'am.
much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this beautiful presentation with diagrams and all that. Thank you so much, मैम. और हम आगे भी आपसे उम्मीद करते हैं कि आप लगातार हमारे साथ ऐसे ही प्रेजेंटेशन इतने अच्छे अच्छे प्रेजेंटेशन बच्चों को देते रहें, आगे भी बने रहें हमारे साथ.
Thank you,
तो
Priyanka. It's part of
मैं
my work. I just enjoy that.
यस यस मैम. मैं बच्चों को व्यूअर्स को बोलना चाहती हूँ कि मैंने फीडबैक फॉर्म में फीडबैक कमेंट बॉक्स में आपका फीडबैक फॉर्म डाला हुआ है कमेंट लाइव कमेंट बॉक्स में, तो आप वहाँ से उसको जल्दी से उसको फिल कर दीजिए और आपको अगर 40% उसमें मार्क्स मिलते हैं देन आपको श्योर आपको एक सर्टिफिकेट इशू होगा आपके मेल आईडी पे. तो आप फीडबैक फॉर्म भर दीजिए और इसको ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा शेयर कर दीजिए. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा शेयर करिए, सब्सक्राइब करिए चैनल को, जिससे कि आपको अपकमिंग वेबिनार्स मिलते रहेंगे. मैंने अभी डाला है फीडबैक फॉर्म, आप उसको फिल कर दीजिए. थैंक यू सो मच मैम.
Okay, you're most welcome, Priyanka. I'll take leave.
यस मैम. ओके श्योर मैम. थैंक यू सो मच.